How good is Hyundai's Ioniq 6? Well, let's just recap the conclusion from our first drive story. From the way it looks to the way it drives to the advanced technologies it can put at the disposal of its drivers and passengers, the Hyundai Ioniq 6 is a sophisticated and intelligent electric vehicle, easily outclassing mass-market EVs from the likes of Volkswagen and Toyota and Ford. But is it good enough to tackle Tesla? As we've well documented, Tesla is an automaker that defies gravity. Tesla produced just over 936,000 vehicles in 2021 and in 2020 reported its first full-year profit in 18 years of operation, $721 million on revenues of $31.5 billion. By contrast, those slackers at Toyota only built about 10 times as many vehicles, and in the financial year ending March 31, 2021, the company reported a profit of about $20 billion on revenues of $236 billion. Yet in terms of its current market capitalization, Tesla is worth roughly 4.5 times as much as Toyota. There's no question Tesla is the 900-pound gorilla in the EV space. But if you look closer, it's a 900-pound gorilla with feet of clay. Analysts calculate the automotive industry will splurge $515 billion on a swarm of new EVs that will hit the market by the end of the decade. Against that background, it seems unlikely Tesla, which has spent less in total on R&D since 2008 than Volkswagen, Toyota, and Mercedes-Benz each spent in 2020 alone, can be anything more than a bit player in a global EV market estimated to reach 47 million units a year by 2030. The much-hyped Tesla Cybertruck pickup Elon Musk claimed would be in production in 2020 has been repeatedly delayed. References to the Tesla Roadster, unveiled as a high-performance flagship in 2017, have long since disappeared from the Tesla website. The car that kickstarted it all, the Tesla Model S, is now a decade old, with no replacement in sight. Tesla's total share of the global EV market last year was less than 20%, with just two models, the Model 3 Sedan and Model Y SUV, accounting for 97% of its sales. And that's why the Ioniq 6 is so important. It's a genuine Model 3 rival, a car that, at first acquaintance, has the chops to take on Musk's cash cow. The Ioniq 6 launches with three model variants. The entry-level Ioniq 6 RWD standard range will be powered by a 149 horsepower, 258 pound-feet motor fed by a 53.0 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Next up will be the RWD long range with 225 horsepower, 258 pound-foot, and a 77.4 kilowatt-hour battery. The top model is the dual-motor AWD long range with 320 horsepower, 446 pound-foot, and a 77.4 kilowatt-hour battery. Tesla's Model 3 range has just one single-motor model, the Standard Range Plus RWD, which has 283 horsepower, 310 pound-foot, and a 54 kilowatt-hour battery. Tesla doesn't reveal the power and torque outputs of the latest versions of its dual-motor Model 3s, the long-range AWD and the performance AWD, but they have at least 450 horsepower, 471 pound-foot, and 82 kilowatt-hour batteries. Hyundai claims a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of just under 9.0 seconds for the single-motor Ioniq 6 RWD standard range and about 7.0 seconds for the more powerful single-motor Ioniq 6 RWD long range. Hyundai also says the dual-motor AWD long range will sprint to 60 miles per hour in just under 5.0 seconds. But as our test of the Ioniq 5 with an identical powertrain saw it hit 60 miles per hour in 4.4 seconds, we suspect that time is conservative. Tesla claims 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.3 seconds for the Standard Range Plus, 4.2 seconds for the long range, and 3.1 seconds for the Model 3 Performance. In our testing, though, we've managed slightly quicker numbers for the Standard Range Plus and long range models. In terms of range, none of the Ioniq 6 models has undergone EPA testing, so we can only approximate their likely EPA ratings based on their WLTP test numbers, our experience driving the AWD long-range model in Korea, and the fact that, On the basis of the WLTP numbers, the aerodynamically efficient Ioniq 6 appears to deliver a 15 to 20% improvement in range over an Ioniq 5 with the same powertrain and battery pack. Oh, and at the 2022 Los Angeles Auto Show, Hyundai proffered some estimates for the big battery Ioniq 6-foot range. According to Hyundai, the rear-drive, big battery Ioniq 6 will be capable of 340 miles per charge, while the dual-motor version drops to a still strong 310 miles. Compare those figures to the equivalent Ioniq 5 models 303 miles and 256 miles, and you can see the benefit of a less blocky, lower-profile shape. No estimates have been given for the entry-level rear-drive, small battery 6, but we anticipate it'll deliver about 250 miles per charge. By way of comparison, the Model 3 standard range has an EPA-rated range of 263 miles, the dual-motor Model 3 long range 353 miles, and the dual-motor Model 3 Performance 315 miles. The Model 3, which is lighter than the Ioniq 6, is the quicker car, though the margin is perhaps not quite as great as it seems. The two most directly comparable models in terms of their powertrain and battery are the dual-motor Model 3 long range and the Ioniq 6 AWD long range, and we suspect there might only be a couple of tenths between their 0 to 60 times. Tesla, which typically works its batteries harder than anyone else, is generally best when it comes to range. We'll have to wait until we see the official EPA numbers, of course, and conduct our own real-world range tests. But in terms of overall combined range and performance, the Model 3 still looks to have the edge. That said, if you're not worried about winning traffic light Grands Prix and don't need AWD, the single-motor Ioniq 6 RWD long range looks as if it could go the distance with the dual-motor Model 3 long range. The Tesla Model 3 is fun to drive, punchy, and precise, with quick steering, sharp braking, and tightly buttoned-down suspension that make it feel almost kart-like through the twisties. But away from the test track, or your favorite canyon road, you're quickly aware of its lack of refinement. There's too much tire and road noise infiltrating the cabin, and a myriad of buzzes and rattles over broken pavement are testament to Tesla's poor build quality. The Ioniq the 6th may not have the ultimate punch of the Model 3, but it drives with the quiet sophistication of a Mercedes-Benz. It feels as if it's hewn from a solid billet of steel, emitting nary a rattle or squeak over different road surfaces. Road noise and impact harshness are well suppressed, even on 20-inch wheels and low-profile tires, and although the steering and braking may not be quite as sharp as the Tesla's, the taut suspension makes it feel agile through corners.